Hello everyone, this is going to be a video on Interlude by Amouage. This is one of my most favorite scents and also one of the fragrances I've spoken about at the very beginning of my channel. This is what I think when I first smelled Interlude, I think it was a turning point in my fragrance journey because I hadn't smelled anything so beautiful by that point, and I haven't worn it in quite a while, but I did wear it sort of regularly, and as you can see, probably you can tell, I don't think you'll be able to see that, but my bottle is half full. So it's one of the fragrances I've worn both sparingly and quite regularly for some reason, because I think at the end of the day, my first impressions on this scent still stand. I think it's still one of the most beautiful scents ever created. I think it's one of my most treasured scents ever. And because I noticed my bottle was getting half empty, that panic that we get, because this is not new Amouage, and I've spoken about what new Amouage means at length. Fragrances are not as interesting as they used to be. They're not as, this is very powerful stuff. I don't trust the current formulations. I don't think I've smelled the current formulation of Interlude. I don't know how this stands right now. This is not an old bottle, but it's maybe something from 2018 or 2019, probably. And I got into a panic and I wanted to get another bottle of Interlude, and while I was, searching for a bottle of Interlude, I found myself a bottle of Interlude 53, which I got. So this will be my first Amouage that I purchased in forever, since, oh God, so many years. So many years, because I was kind of, and I still am, pretty disillusioned with what Amouage is today. By the way, as an aside, I did smell the three. God, so much hype concerning those three fragrances. What's their names? Outlands and Outskirts and Borderlands and whatever. Outlandish. I don't know what. I don't remember their names. And I smelled two of them, and they're just meh. They're just regular scents. I wouldn't call them bad. They're not as interesting as their fragrances used to be, and they're so terribly expensive. And the bottles, I don't like them. Yeah, well, it is what it is. So back to Interlude. Someone asked me to do, and I've been thinking about this ever since. Someone asked me to do another top 10, for life, which is not something I think about very often. What are the most loved fragrances from 300 plus fragrances that I have? I think I did, I'm sure I did one previously a few years ago, and I'm certain that Interlude was, I think, in the top 3, maybe if not my most favorite scent. And I think Interlude still is, because I wore it. I've been wearing Interlude, nothing but Interlude, for a week. And it's very interesting when you wear nothing but Interlude, because it's, besides multiple facets and the way, and it's very cold outside. It's been -7 Celsius, so it's been quite cold and windy, and this is where, in my experience, Interlude shines, because it's at its most ambery, but not sweet, mostly incensey, right? It's church incense, because this is why I used to love Amouage, for their church incense, for their olibanum. Best olibanum I've smelled in any fragrances ever have been in Amouage, and I think the best fragrance from Amouage when it comes to incense is Amouage Goldman. And Interlude, they're very, very close together, because I love incense. I love ambers and I love incense quite a lot. So I've been wearing nothing but Interlude. As you very well may know, this is very, very powerful. This is extremely powerful stuff. And I just used a tiny bit on my wrist, on my hand, and when I first smelled it, it was like, oh no, this is Chergui. Because this is how my mind works now. I'm very much into Serge Lutens, and for good reason. I think Chergui is one of the best fragrances ever created. And I would love to apply Interlude here, but I will apply the 53 variety. We'll talk about that in a minute when I open it. But when I smell it, even now, I can't help thinking of Chergui, because it's that same grassy, green, sweet amber, milky amber, which is so gorgeous. I used to think, and I'm not sure even today, I used to think that Interlude was not a balanced scent, because Interlude, when you wear it, if it's, you know, if it's not the appropriate moment in time, this might give you trouble, because it is a very, you know, demanding scent. It demands your attention whenever you're wearing it. It's, you know, like a supernova. It's very present, Interlude. It's very smoky, it's very fiery. And I used to think this wasn't a balanced scent, but I think that in its wildness, that it's pretty decently balanced. And the reason for that balance is something most people don't like about Interlude. I myself love it. I think it's what makes the fragrance. It is the oregano note. It's the greenness, it's the spiciness, the sharpness of Interlude. It's what makes it fiery. It's what gives it its signature. It's why I know I'm smelling Interlude and not something else, right? It's because of that oregano note. And it balances things out. It makes it camphorous. It makes it... I would never call Interlude a soothing scent, but I was able to wear Interlude to bed, which is something I previously thought I was able to do only with Chergui and Ambre Sultan and other comforting scents like that. It's got a lot of potential, you know, Interlude. It's got a lot of potential for people to only wear one fragrance, and that fragrance can be only Interlude, which is a lot, you know, a lot said. So Chergui is like that. The differences between them, they're not the same scent. Whenever I mention things like this, it doesn't mean they're the same scent. It just means they're similar somehow. There's familiar beats running through both of them. There's a lot of fragrances that have been made to smell similar to Interlude, because most of them are, you know, clones, more or less. But also I think that from Orto Parisi, Quoium, the leather one, it's, to my nose, it's very similar to Interlude, and this is the reason why I didn't bother with that one, because I already have the best of the best, so why bother with Quoium? But I will like to apply L'air du Désert Marocain, because this is another fragrance that's very much in the same vein as Interlude. Again, not the same scent at all, but because L'air du Désert Marocain and Chergui, they do share this, there it is, they do share this, again, grassy, ambery, sweet. L'air du Désert Marocain is very airy, but it's also a lot drier than Chergui is. Chergui is sweeter, it's milkier. And also, just like Interlude, on the skin, in the dry down, which is very, very complex, the dry down of Interlude is, God, you could speak about that for ages. There's so many things in that dry down. It's becoming more sweet, and the vanilla is becoming more obvious in both Interlude and in L'air du Désert Marocain, which is so interesting. The dry down of Interlude is a jumble. It's this beautiful, almost like a sweet plum note, which is smoky but tart. It's grassy, and in the dry down, it's where the oud, because this is, at the end of the day, Interlude is an oud incense scent. The oud kind of takes over, and it's this animalic body odor, unwashed hair, so sexy. It reminds me of Encens Mythique d'Orient. I'm fairly curious. I don't want to prolong this anymore. Let's open up Interlude 53. This is something I've smelled before when it was launched. I've smelled it in I think it might have been an airport. And I remember smelling it and saying, well, this is just Interlude. Just Interlude. There's nothing more. It didn't feel like something very reworked. It's a good thing that it was done by Pierre Negrin as well, just like the original Interlude. And I was happy to find the oregano note still there, because I could have gotten myself the Black Iris variety, but I don't prefer it. I love Black Iris. It's a very beautiful scent, but I still prefer Interlude, so I don't need Black Iris, is what I say to myself, because it's not as interesting as the original Interlude, in my opinion. But, you know, I think Black Iris was created because that one's smoother and a bit, yeah, because of the iris, right? Basically what they did is they exchanged the oregano with an iris. So I think it's more pleasant for some people, especially people who didn't like the original oregano. These bottles are absurd. These boxes, sorry, are absurd in their they're still beautiful, you know. Beautiful bottles, beautiful packaging. They're very, very expensive, but I did prefer the old boxes a lot more, because they're a lot friendlier to store, you know, maybe to display, than the new ones. But yeah, changes at Amouage. All right. Oh, gorgeous. Just look at this nice jewelry, almost like a jewelry box. Look at how this looks. It's so premium. The bottle is gorgeous. Of course it is. Welcome home, my new Interlude. And alright, let's see how this smells. Because you know what Interlude 53 is supposed to be, right? This is supposed to be the extrait for Interlude. And I don't see the point of it, you know. Interlude is so strong. Who on earth would ever require an extrait for this? Because it's very heavy already. Oh, let's do it on the hand as well. Let's go nuts. Let's see. Well, good news is nothing in the design has changed. It's just the writing here. Instead of on the neck of the bottle, it's still, yeah, it fits in my Interlude display base. All right. It is smoother. It's different. It's different enough. It's definitely Interlude, right? It just feels a lot smoother than the wildness of Interlude. It feels like it's been tamed. Not sure I prefer this. I do like my Interlude, you know, crazy, whirling around me, screaming. But because this is an extrait, it's going to be, the molecules are going to be a lot lazier, you know, larger, a lot more static. And what I love about extraits is everything is amped up, including the fresher parts of Interlude, because it feels, there's the oregano, it's there, it's grassier, and it's fresher, it's even more, it smells just like the herb. It's a lot more contrasting. You can pick it up easier, and there's something skankier than the original Interlude. I suppose it'll be the oud. Incense is gorgeous. everything is just perfect. I love this one. Yeah. Interlude 53. Let's see. I mean, there's nothing much to be said about the notes of this because it's just the notes for interlude. This feels also the vetiver. Yeah, it's the vetiver. This is why it feels smoother, because the vetiver is a lot more pronounced and it kind of gives off this creamy, sweet, chocolatey smell, which isn't something you get in the original interlude. So the amber itself, the composition, because the whole composition is nothing but an amber. This is also an amber, and this is also an amber. These are all ambers. They're grassy, spicy ambers. That's it. The entirety of the amber feels smoother and rounder because it's an extrait. It's also sweeter. But as I said, everything else is amped up as well. It's skankier, it's more oregano. What it feels less, oh, and it's starting to smoke. What it feels less, however, it's the fire. You know, the fire has been, this is more ember-like. It's smoking, but while interlude is on fire. This is fire personified. That's it. The smoke of interlude chokes you. It's almost like it's a physical reaction because it's smoldering all around you. While this one is, because it's rounder and sweeter, it's not the same effect, which is a shame. You know, I think I very much prefer the, you know, the old interlude is perfect. I still stand by my initial thought that we never needed this, you know. It's just, and all of the extras, they're just flankers, you know. It's just a reason to produce something else in that line with that name so that people will buy it, because Amouage have a lot of fans, and titles like Epic and I don't think there's an extrait for gold, because I would have gotten that one. Epic and Reflection and all the, you know, the fan favorites, you know, they all have an extrait version. I don't think Memoir has an extrait version, so not my favorites, but I'm glad Epic has an extrait version, and that extrait version is very, very beautiful, especially the woman counterpart. It feels like the same scent, you know, it feels like it's interlude with something more and something less at the same time. But it's definitely interlude, no doubt about it. I will be very curious. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to wear this today and tonight. I'm going to do this. I can already start, you know. Oh. And I will tell you if I discover something more. Hopefully it will be as complex as Old Interlude ever was. But for now, I think this is it. This is all I can tell you about Amouage Interlude 53. If you have any other questions, do let me know in the comments. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.